Hey, what is going on, Fire Breather? Welcome back to another episode of the Modern Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Sean James. We're going to be talking about a special subject today. It's how to use Eustress in your training. So, when you think of stress, you probably think of the bad kind, right? The stuff that makes you eat like 5 packs of donuts because you're crumbling under pressure. But what about that kind of good stress, the famed Eustress? Well, to understand that, you have to follow these steps. First, you got to realize what causes distress in your life and the difference between bad stress and good stress. I know that sounds pretty basic, but it's a little bit more complicated than you realize. For starters, when you take an exam in school or in your studies, you'll probably be pretty nervous. But if you did, you'll be glad to come home to your parents to see a smile on their face, being if that you actually studied and you actually got a good grade on the exam. And if you didn't study or you have this constant nagging feeling at the back of your head that you're going to fail, you're going to be distressed the entire time. So it's all about that eustress and de-stress stuff, right? It's all about perception. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Another thing that you got to do is you got to find the sweet spot between the bad and the good stress. Now, there's also that sweet spot between both of these types of stresses that'll help you to break through that barrier in CrossFit. It's when you're in the greatest pain but also see the greatest glory. The best way I can explain this to you is when you're doing, let's say, a clean and jerk. Of course, you're going to feel nervous and stressed out when you can't really get it right. But when you're on top, when you got that barbell right over your shoulders, that sounds pretty amazing. That's that eustress we're talking about. It's all about that glory to the finish line. The number three tip that I want to give you is it's the battle of the mind. If you conquer the mind, the physical stressors, they will follow as well. That means you can conquer those physical stuff. This is really important, especially when it comes to your CrossFit training, because if you're a big fan of sports psychology, this is what they talk about. I would say about 80% of the time, it's the physical stuff. 80% of the time, it's the mental stuff. And 20% of the time, it's that physical endeavors. And it's illustrated brilliantly in the book, The Achievement Zone by Shane Murphy. It's one of my favorite books ever, and it'll teach you a lot how to relax your brain in order to achieve better and more frequently. The number four tip I want to give you is you got to take frequent breaks during your work cycle. And this is actually my most important tip. You got to take breaks. Between running my business, juggling through school, and having to deal with 2 jobs, I was exhausted as hell a couple months back. Yeah, I made money, but I was never satisfied with my end result. You got to learn how to take breaks for yourself so you can love yourself truly in the end. So, thanks again for watching Fire Breather, or listening, I should say. Subscribe to this channel. Just hit that little button thing. Hit the bell to be notified on each new podcast episode. You know what? Share this podcast for a friend who might need to hear this today. Thanks again, Fire Breather. I'll see you in the next episode.